So the basic understanding is that your attachment to how somebody should or should not act, your attachment to things that they have done, your attachment to the way you want them to be, all leads to one thing: your suffering, right? So the Buddhists call this dukkha, and dukkha simply means uneasiness. It means unpleasantry, just being uncomfortable mainly. So like a good example of this would be when somebody ghosts you, right? Not a good feeling for sure. And you can hold, space for that sadness that may arise. But typically, we will make so much more out of that. It's actually called sankhara dukkha, and sankhara simply means volitional mental activity. So what that means is that once something like that happens, you then start to tell yourself a story. You then start to talk to your mind and say, they should not have done that. And this is such a problem. And how could they have done this to me? And then you go further and you start saying, well, why me? Why did this person ghost me? Is there something wrong with me? Why did this person do this to me? This is so wrong. And then you go further and further, and then you start feeling this kind of self-pity, which a lot of people run into. And the problem with all of this is, while some of these ideas and thoughts may be true, right? Oh, this person shouldn't have done this to you. That's fair. You don't deserve that. Sure. I don't think anybody does. It turns into a much, much larger problem than what really is, right? Example, the ghosting situation. What's really there in that situation? Well, the ghosting situation is pretty simple. Somebody didn't text you back. Somebody didn't respond to a message. Somebody just left you on red. That's it. It really is. That's it. There's not much more beyond that. If it's somebody that you had a relationship with, then somebody you've had a relationship with left you on red. That's it. Doesn't mean that you are a crappy person. Doesn't mean that you don't deserve love. Doesn't mean that you aren't valuable. Hell, it doesn't even mean necessarily that they're a crappy person, right? I mean, first off, we have to define what that is. But second off, maybe this person's having a trauma response. Maybe you remind them of their ex, and while they think you're great, it's hard for them. Which is another thing I've learned a lot about, is it's usually other people. It's not you. So anyway, yeah, like we're creating more, right? We're creating this suffering, this dukkha, from this experience. And what the Buddhists say is, don't let those actions define your experience. So you can just align with your peace, align with the values that you hold true to yourself. For example, I'm not going to ghost somebody. I'm going to be communicative. I'm going to do a good job at telling somebody how I feel. But at that same time, you're not letting their actions define your experience. And if you think about it, it does a few different things. Number one, when you do this, it gives you all the power back. All the power. You're stopping this whole letting somebody else dictate how you feel. Which, I'm sorry, but you got to get on that now, because life is full of that. Life is full of people saying things and not doing it correctly. Life is full of scary emotions and moments. I mean, just watch the news, for example, and you'll see what I mean. So that's the first thing. You got to get on that. But secondly, it gives you that control, because you should have control over your own life. You should have control over how you feel. And if you're lucky enough to live in a Western society, you probably have that, as long as you don't live in a dictatorship. Fingers crossed. So yeah, don't let others dictate how you feel. Don't let others dictate your own suffering. You have that control. It's on you. And so dukkha, or sankhara dukkha, is that volitional mental activity that leads to your suffering. Don't let it lead to your suffering. And the best way to do that is to find what it is you are attached to, and then just observe it. It's a very simple process. It's not easy to do well. That's why we practice. But you find that attachment. What is it that I'm attached to? I open my eyes really wide like that, because that's the secret, dude. That's the secret sauce that I found. Once I asked myself those questions, I was able to pinpoint the problem within myself. That's sankhara dukkha. Oh, I'm attached to the way that this person needs to act. I need this person to act a certain way, and I'm attached to it. And then you start to create all these problems, right? So it's like a root of suffering, and then the tree of problems and more suffering comes out of it. Oh, I'm not worthy. Oh, they did something so terrible to me. Oh, they shouldn't have done that. When it all comes down to this one attachment. Oh, I'm attached to how they should have acted. So it's a very, very simple process. But applying it is a whole different story. Now, that's why we also meditate. Okay, so meditation is very, very helpful for this, because when you sit down and you close your eyes and you do the Buddhist meditations that go along with this theory, not even theory, excuse me, this practice, you come to this place of peace, right, within yourself. But then a thought comes in. And then you simply just let that thought go. You see that thought for what it is, a passing moment of existence. It is a passing moment of existence, and then you come back. It's not always comfortable, by the way. Meditation isn't always going to be this rest and relaxation. I think that's another common misconception. It's really a practice. It's a strength. It's a skill you're building. So then when you do that, 5, 10, 20, 100 times in an hour session, let's say, for example, you don't have to do an hour, but let's just say in this example, eventually you get good at it. And then pretty soon you start recognizing that thought almost simultaneously, and then the thought comes and goes, thought comes and goes. Well, guess what? That's the dress rehearsal. Once you go into the real world, that's the show. That's you putting on the performance, so to speak. That's the practice now being put into play. It's like, are you now on stage? I don't want to say that you're performing in life, but what I'm saying is that that's the practice. Now you're doing the actual practice. Now you're not practicing. Now you're really doing it. Now you're driving the car. You're not in the simulator anymore. And so when a negative thought or somebody does something to you, or somebody ghosts you, or you have this uneasy feeling arise, it's a sensation, simply. And then your reaction in that moment determines how you feel. So if somebody does something poor to you, you don't let those actions define you, because now you've practiced. You've sat down and you've had all these thoughts come and go, and you've recognized those thoughts. And so now when somebody ghosts you, those actions are simply just actions, and you can see those actions. And you can see what is happening, and you remove with non-attachment. I don't even want to say remove. It's more like you just observe what's happening. So you stop identifying with the experience. Yeah. Let me know if that helps. I probably need to define this a little bit more in another video, but this video right now is just about the understanding of dukkha. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create a playlist of what to do next. So the next video will be about how we approach this a bit more. I've already explained it a little bit in this video, but that's what the next video is. So make sure you subscribe for that, because that's what's going to come out. Like this video and share this video with somebody that you think needs it. I mean, this is just like, I'm trying to give you guys the best information here for free on YouTube. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm enjoying my coffee this morning. I love you. May you be well. May you be free of suffering. No more dukkha, okay? No more sankara dukkha for you. Okay, bye-bye.